This video is the fourth in a short series of payroll videos looking at the records that should be kept. So these are the payroll records that should be kept. So amounts paid to employees, deductions made, the full payment submission form, the FPS, and the employer payment summary, the EPS, which we've covered in an earlier video. Payments made to HMRC, employee leave and sickness absence records, tax code notices that tell the business how much PAYE to take off the worker, reimbursed expenses, so that might be if the employer paid for their own train fare, for example, and then the business pays them back, and benefits provided, so that might be if there's a company car or private medical insurance or something like that provided as a benefit to the worker. It's not about state benefits. And the payroll giving scheme, so that's the GAYE, where the employee has given authority for a deduction to be made from their gross pay and paid over to the relevant charity. So all of those records should be kept by the employer. How long do they have to keep those records? Well, the answer is 3 years from the end of the relevant tax year to which they relate. Right, so we know that tax years run from the 6th of April one year to the 5th of April the next. So make sure that you keep all of the information for 3 years from the end of the tax year. If you don't, you could get a penalty of £3,000 per year for failure to maintain full records, so quite hefty. Note as well that HMRC have the right to inspect records and visit business premises, but they will give notice of their visit. So that's how they'll find out if you haven't, and then obviously you will get that penalty. If they find that too little has been paid, then you will be asked to pay the extra within 30 days and interest on top of that, and possibly a penalty that we looked at in the previous session. Right, so it's important that things are done properly and that the records are maintained. So again, just a reminder that you will have reference material, and this is what you will have available in the exam. So we then look at the storage of payroll records. So we've got quite a bit of law around this now. So we originally had the Data Protection Act of 2008, which controlled how data could be used, and it had a number of principles, including that data has to be used fairly and lawfully, used for its explicit purpose, and used as necessary. So I think that all goes without saying if you're processing payroll. But the data must be kept also, as shown here, secure, accurate, and up to date. So that's governed by the Data Protection Act of 2008. And then on top of that now, we have the GDPR, which requires businesses to take steps to protect personal information. So it's an add-on to the original data security principles that we had. So obviously payroll records contain personal data, so being kept secure means that they're kept confidential, so under lock and key, or certainly heftily password protected on a computer system. Businesses are allowed to keep certain information about their workers without permission, so information such as their name, address, date of birth, education, qualifications, tax code, emergency contacts, etc. But they will need permission to hold information about protected characteristics, so that's things like race, religion, membership of a union, their health, their sexual orientation, and the like. Okay. So I think that's all we need to say on that.